Hey guys, welcome to this foster care update, kind of in honor of Foster Care Awareness Month and the fact that our littles have been back with us now for like 6 weeks or so. I figured it was time to give you guys a little bit of an update while being like super vague for privacy reasons. Obviously I can't get into like a lot of details, but I want to take you along on this journey so that for those of you that are interested in fostering yourself, those that have been through the process and just want to know that like you're not alone, and just for those who are interested in following our journey and praying for us, we always appreciate your prayers so much. So yeah, I think we're at 6 weeks now, right around there, with the little ones being back. So if you haven't been here before, we have our little guy came into our home. February was 2 years, and we call him R2D2. He was 17 months at the time. The next February, his sister, who we call BB8, came into our home. She was 5.5 months at the time, and BB8 went home to birth family back in November, and then R2 went to the same birth family in January, and then they both ended up back in our care at the end of March. Very brief little rundown of what's going on. Okay, so what is going on? Wouldn't we like to know? We had a visit from the social worker last week, and well, we've known this for a while. They have another member of the family, a different one, who is interested in having them. So we are pretty much exactly at the point where we were in August of last year when we were starting, well, not quite, maybe July of last year, where we were starting visits with family, and families like doing things to check certain boxes in order to be approved to have them. And while I didn't feel overly optimistic last summer when this was starting, and I mean, like, look how it played out, that kind of foresaw that coming, I feel even less optimistic this year. There is this like fine line of, I understand that you want kids to be with family. You do. But unfortunately in our province, and I know a lot of places, they emphasize birth family even when I don't think, this is like, I don't want to come across as like our house is the best house, but when it's not necessarily the best thing for the kid. The government here is like, birth family is the best no matter what. And I feel like, well, sometimes there are a lot of red flags, and maybe birth family isn't the best thing. Even if they can check all your boxes for a few months, does that mean they can hang on to it, like continue this? R2 was with birth family for 2.5 months before he came back in care. Was that trauma of him going there? Well, first of all, the months of like visits that we did, and then him going there, and then him coming back into care. Is the fact that he was with birth family for a bit worth that trauma? I really, really struggle with this. This is definitely my biggest issue with fostering. I'm not against birth family at all, but I'm more for kids than I am for birth family. And unfortunately with this particular person, I see so many more red flags than I did last time. And we are just in the stage of them having very infrequent visits. They've had one, and they're gonna have another one right away. So I mean, we're not at the like they're leaving right now part, but that is the social worker's goal. She's very excited, and I don't like to be the pessimist. I don't like to be the Debbie Downer, be the person that is not rooting for birth family, but I feel like with our experience in the past and with where this looks like it's going right now, I'm very not optimistic, and I'm very much struggling with like, at what point do I start asking questions, asking, is this actually the best for them? Because I'm asking these questions in my head. I'm not really verbalizing them to the social worker right now, because right now we're at the point where it's just visits and they're supervised, and I want the kids to have a relationship with birth family, but I would feel I would feel like I wasn't doing my job, and I would feel neglectful if I didn't ask some hard questions yet. And I'm not at that point yet, but it's coming. I think it's coming. If birth family can even follow the path set out for them for a while here. So we'll see. There is, well, if the social worker gets their way, and if birth family can have a good act for a few months, then they'll be leaving, I guess. I'm not even going to say there's a good chance. Then that's probably what would happen. Unless I do something about it. And this is such a struggle, because I don't want to get between family and children, but I also don't want children to have even more trauma than they need. So that's a little bit of what's going on there. On a different note, I applied for preschool for R2 because this is a question that I have gotten quite a few times, and I don't think I've actually answered on here. So in our province, and I think most places, we are not allowed to homeschool foster children. And I've been curious. I have never asked why that is. I should ask. I'm assuming maybe because if they like move from home to home, it's easier to like go into a school if you have like a report card or something like that, and it's easier for the government to keep track of them. I'm assuming it's all those kind of reasons. But I do think that homeschooling would be great for foster kids, because often they're delayed, and if they can have one-on-one time, that's even better. But anyway, that's not a possibility right now, especially with family interested. I don't like if they were going to be kind of in our care permanently, then I think that's a conversation we have down the road with social workers, and they would maybe have a different take on things. I'm not sure what they're allowed to do. But I know with birth family interested, that's not going to be a topic. So R2 is not going to kindergarten this year. He's going to preschool, but next year he's going to kindergarten, and he likes his routines. He likes things a certain way. So as much as I feel like, oh, we homeschool and here I am applying for preschool for this kid, I think he would need that year of, okay, so this is the routine, this is what I do, and that would help so much for kindergarten, instead of just going from being at home with us all day to, I think it's like a full day every other day is how kindergarten is in the school that's closest to us. I think that would be a lot. So I think this would be a good transition for him, and then the school will go into the school year knowing where his delays are, and I think he can have a little bit of a step up with maybe like getting an EA or some kind of extra help, extra support, instead of trying to figure that out in September, October, November of his kindergarten year. So that feels weird. It's a very small class size. They only accept a certain amount of kids, and you have to like have delays and check certain boxes, and I feel like he does. So whether or not they feel like other people maybe have more delays or not than him, we'll find out eventually. I might apply to another preschool or two in case he doesn't get in to that one that I really want him to, but that feels really weird too. My daughter went to preschool for a year, but that was when we were planning on sending her to kindergarten, and so this feels different as a homeschooling parent to be applying for preschool for a kid and knowing that next year I'm going to be, assuming if he's still here, applying for kindergarten. It's going to be weird to have some kids homeschooled and some kids in school, for sure. Yeah, so I think that's a little bit of an update. I don't think I have much more to say right now. I guess if you guys could just be praying for, I don't know, mostly wisdom on how to deal with whether or not I feel like I need to kind of like talk to the social worker and like figure out, I don't know, if I need to fight for these kids, honestly. I mean, yeah, I think that's a big thing. Just prayers for lots of wisdom, their hearts as they have visits. There is actually even another family member that is interested that's like lower down on the totem pole. So if things don't go well with this family member, then maybe that one will get them if they're interested, or they'll start visits with that family member. I don't know. I find it hard. Like, they have family. Family can come out of the woodwork at any time and say, yep, we'll take them. And then they can be gone. And I struggle with that so much because, I mean, I know kids, like, our kids are in God's hands. They can die at any time, but I feel like that's different than just knowing they're in someone else's house and you don't know how they're doing. It's definitely a struggle. So we would just appreciate your prayers, and thanks so much for following our foster care journey.